so important that we give recognition to our kababayans that really make it a point to mentor the younger generation. I'd like to share with all of you a dear friend of mine who has really mentored me to become the producer I am today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is such a pleasure to welcome here on Kababayan Today, Michael Carandang.
Hi. Biyag. Oh
Mike,
my God.
you're here.
I know.
Okay.
In your show.
I know where
and I'm
it
a
all
guest.
started.
Yes.
Okay, pag-usapan natin to, okay? Pilipino ka, saan ka ipinanganak sa Pilipinas?
Sa Tanawan, Batangas.
Batanggenyo ka?
Pareho, Batanggenyo tayo, di ba?
That's right. O, kwento mo sa akin yung when you were growing up in Batangas. How was that like?
It was really simple. I mean, I remember like growing up sa yung bahay, parang ancestral home namin. And, you know, it was like a simple life. My dad, I saw him on weekends. It's very typical. Like he worked in the city, tapos, you know, and it's my brother, my sister, and I with my mom. And it was a different time back then. I don't think yung mga kabataan ngayon sa Pilipinas experience the same thing, but it was nice. It was, I learned a lot. I think that's where instilled a lot of my Filipino virtues is because I live in a small town.
Probinsya.
Probinsyano.
Diba?
Oo, ala eh.
Pero itong probinsyanong ito, talagang
Lumalabas ang punto.
Alay, talaga naman.
Ay, ano ga?
So, ang tanong,
Okay.
kailan ka lumipat sa Amerika at sabay-sabay ba kayo ng buong pamilya mong lumipat? Kasi alam natin na maraming kababayan na pag lumilipat sila sa Amerika, hindi sila magkasama all together at the same time. Was that the same for you?
Yeah, actually that was the same. My dad moved to Indiana first. So my family right now lives in Indiana. So my dad moved first. He wanted to test out kung if it's a place that we could flourish and live. Kasi for him, I mean, he saw a bigger picture than we did as young kids. Alam mo, bata kami, para lang, gusto lang makasakay ng aeroplano, di ba?
And how old were you when you moved? 13?
I was 13 when we moved. And then my mom followed to see if she liked it. And then my mom went back and she said, you know what? We should all move the family there. So lahat kami magkakapatid with my mom and my dad lumipat sa Indiana.
So 13 years old ka dumating sa Indiana.
Yeah.
Ano yung experience na yon?
Actually,
was it a culture shock?
It was more than a culture shock. It was an identity shock. I think, kaya minsan I feel like a lot of the Filipinos na nag-migrate from Pilipinas to America has really experienced something where they really had to find themselves and they form a thick skin. Kasi sanay ka sa Pilipinas na puro Pinoy, tapos pag may nakikita ka Amerikano o ibang lahi, tuwan-tuwa ka, very hospitable, you think it's the same thing na mangyayari pag lumipat ka dito. And it wasn't. I was the only Filipino in our school.
You were the only Filipino in the school?
Unless you're related to me, which is either you're my brother, my sister, o pinsan kita.
Mahirap ba yun na walang Pilipinong...
Mahirap yun because at that time kasi, obviously we live in an age of social media and we live in an age where, you know, the Philippines has actually, we're known for more than just like being in Asia. With the likes of Manny Pacquiao, you know, and even like reality shows here, American Idol, sa America Best Dance.
Meron na mga
marami ng Pinoys that represent Filipinos as far as media is concerned.
Pero noon,
wala. I mean,
wala silang clue or idea.
The clue was, many times they talk about the Philippines as yung may base pa doon di ba? May American Air Base.
Oo, may Clark Air Base pa.
Clark Air Base pa doon. I remember like I almost got in a fight because we used to be farmers. My first job, my dad was a farmer. We used to farm. And I remember this kid from my school, sabi niya, oh, taga-Pilipinas ka. Sabi ko, sabi niya, di ba maraming prostitute doon? Because of the red light district. So, the perception was that because the only thing they hear about the Philippines, yung mga military na pumunta, may red light district doon, yung mga ganon.
So, ganon yung dating?
Ganon yung dating. Na for me naman, it was like, because I was like, nagalit ako. Kasi hindi totoo, number one, hindi totoo. Number two, like, why would that's the only thing that na alam nila tungkol sa Pilipinas? And I think in such a young age, doon ko na-realize the power of media and the power of, you know, if you're not being seen on television, then you don't matter. That's why I'm so happy you're doing this show, because more Filipinos that talk about our issues, our sensibilities, our stories, it allows the mainstream media to understand that we are part of this community, we are part of this culture. So if you're not being seen, if you're not being represented, you know, Filipinos all over this country may not feel na, teka muna, hindi yata ako importante. And then that's how I felt as a young child, na hindi ako importante at all.
Here's a real, honest question.
Yeah.
Na-experience mo ba yung racial discrimination in the Midwest?
To be honest with you, I never experienced it because I would never allow somebody to have that power over me. What I did felt is I felt that I didn't belong only because I couldn't communicate.
Nung dumating ka, nagtatagalog ka lang.
Marunong akong mag-English
Oh,
kasi you
syempre.
said from school, pero
Right.
iba yung accent di ba?
Oo.
Like, pag sinabi ko, oh, let's go, ako yung nakakatawa kasi everything I said seemed funny to them and I was just talking na, in a sense, it became my charm
Yeah,
to mga
and
classmates
also
ko.
your driving force because, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Carandang is known to be the spearheader of the Filipinominal inspiration. And we'll talk about what that means to be Filipinominal, okay? When we return here on Kababayan Today with my mentor, Michael Carandang.